Erica, are you recording? Oh, you have.
Now I can.
Do
It's
you know
it.
I can stop it too on my end?
You can stop my recording of it on your end.
Yeah, looks like.
It's
I
very
won't,
confusing.
don't worry.
Well, is that why maybe I don't understand why it was grayed out before? It's just one of those things.
Yeah,
It is,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm not going to touch it. I just wanted you to know it was there.
Okay. Hopefully this time.
Yeah,
Got
third
it.
time's a charm.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I guess I could sit outside now. Are you outside, Erica?
I am.
I think I'm going to do that now that the sun's off my balcony.
Okay, I figured I'd give
Another.
people like another minute to pop in and then we'll start.
There's bubbles flying around my balcony right now. There's some
Oh,
children playing down
that's
there.
good.
Kind of zoom. Maybe not. They're kind of fluid now.
Alrighty, so I will get started. I see some of you on this chat. I don't know. I'm Erica Scheidel. I work at Cooper, so I am the Jody Greenspan Tracy Crowley of Cooper, and we're talking about Seesaw today. I know a little bit about Seesaw, some of the advanced things, but I don't use it day to day, obviously, because in my role I don't have a classroom. So what I'm going to kind of do is introduce it to you, kind of explain how teachers have set it up. Oh, Jody's in now. Jody has used it more and with her Spanish classes than I have with specific groups. And the first thing I wanted to show you with the Seesaw is just that there is a very awesome help center. I mean, I think this is one of the best help centers I've ever seen. So I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay. And there's always like a little lag, just so you know, that sometimes I think I'm sharing my screen and people can't see it quite yet. So I'm just going to wait a bit. Can people see the icons now?
Yeah.
Okay. So as you can see, this is about as friendly as it gets for a help screen. This is just help.seesaw.me. You know, this is part of them getting you into Seesaw. So I really think this has been written by teachers because it's like every question I have, it's very clear. The directions are clear. If you need some videos, videos exist. It is one of the easiest things I've really ever had to get into with students and families, and it just works really well. What the advantage of Seesaw is that it combines so many things. It has places to respond in video. It has places where the kids can draw. It has places where they can blog. It also kind of cracks your classroom wide open because you can just quickly take pictures or take some video, and that just gets shot out immediately to your families in an email. Once you've set it up, it takes a little bit of setting up, but not much. It's just one-stop shopping. I mean, when I think of all the years we used to try to get people to do different things and use different tools and do all these different things, this just puts it all in one spot for you. So I think if you kind of mastered this, you would be set in so many ways with 21st century learning and just keeping our parents informed of what we're doing. I mean, people have had so many nice comments from parents saying, "Oh, I really understand what my child does during the day." And even though at first this was kind of pushed out as a K-3 thing, and I looked at it and thought, I don't know about this, but the kids really like it. You know, the parents, you know how middle school kids are. I did nothing. Well, no, you didn't do nothing because look at this. You know, why don't you talk to me a little bit about what you just did in, this class? Setting it up, I see some of you are exploratory teachers. In that case, what you might want to do is just make a seesaw for every grade you teach. So like a 6th grade room, a 7th grade room, and an 8th. And yes, your kids from different classes would get to see what the other kids are doing. Does that make sense? Like period 3 is maybe going to see what period 2 did. the kids putting their work together, but sometimes they like that. They kind of like seeing it. Oh, my friend did this in that class, and my friend responded this way, and they're on this, they're doing a project and they're in group B. I'm in group B too, and we're working on these, same things. So that I did not really predict that would happen when we were setting up classrooms because I had Margaret Conley, who I worked closely with, and this was almost 2 years ago. So that's why I'm a little rusty. When we were talking through about how to set it up, she just said, you know what? I'm just going to put all my kids in one room because she teaches social studies, science, all 3 core blocks. And she just decided, you know what? They're all going to see each other. They're all going to interact together. And that's just what we're going to do. So this is Margaret's room. And she was, a little concerned that the kids wouldn't be totally appropriate at first. But here they are. And you can see this is the journal mode. And then we have activities. And this is kind of what your classroom looks like. And these are her students. So you can click on her students. And you can see the different things she's doing. Like this student had golden monkeys assigned to her. And so this was the assignment she dealt with. Okay. And I know this looks like a lot, but we all know how, this is basically them making Google Slides. This is not really difficult. What's nice about it, too, is the activities. You don't have to come up with stuff on your own. There's so much material in here. If you signed up for this now and started working with your students, you'd be busy. You would be so busy for the next couple of weeks. You can have, basic things that help you do, like, just reflecting and this and that. But you can also go and you can look into your grade level specific, and you can look into subject area specific. So I kind of feel like, Karen, I see you're in here. You might be at a little disadvantage with CCC. You're not going to find as much. But I think you could find stuff that you would use just in the creative thinking, reflection. They do different little, because of this distance learning, they have really good contacts. So I don't know if you're familiar with Mo Williams. So he did a little let's doodle together, kids, and do that thing. And so it's been really cool, the things that they've been putting out there for everybody. Okay, so I'm going to stop talking for a bit and see what questions you have for me.
Okay, Eric, I have a question. And we can talk about this later too, so we don't take up everyone's time, but we were talking originally about that cookbook assignment I was going to do. Would this be a place where the kids could do their cookbook, their individual
there actually
cookbook?
is a recipe card on there that I saw.
Okay.
Yeah. And then if, I know you don't need, what was I going to say with the cookbook? I know you're trying not to do things that require ingredients, obviously, because that's going to be hard on our families. But I mean, if you wanted them to do a little demo of something, I don't know, boiling water, I don't know. It's just something that everybody would have access to. Do you know what's funny? My kids didn't know how to boil water. I mean, you don't know what they don't know sometimes. Yeah. Like maybe it's like, let's boil water on the stove today because they make everything in the microwave. Yeah. So I don't know. Just kind of silly things like that.
Okay.
Or maybe just have them take out measuring cups and look at the measuring cups. Something they might have. I don't know. So someone asked me, do you sign in? You sign in through Google, just like you always do. And you would set up a class code. So, and the kids would join with their class code, and the parents would also go in through this code. I might have to ask Margaret how to do, getting the parents on there might be a little more complicated because usually we just sent home things with the kids. So I don't know if you'd have to send, but you're all communicating with your parent email. So maybe you would just send them an invite through their email. So we could work through that. We'll figure it out. Okay, so I've got little things on the chat here. Let me see. Okay. So for special ed, I have seen, because I've become an administrator for the whole school just in the past week, so I'm not that versed in it, but I have seen that some of our co-taught classes, you can have a co-teacher, and I have seen, like in some instances, I've seen a science class, the SPED co-teacher right in it. But then I've also seen just a sped teacher on their own. So that must be their resource or something like that. You know, why they decided to just be solo. I'm not quite sure. So I've seen both. And you can have a co-teacher. So that's what's kind of nice, that it's no problem adding somebody else to this to kind of help you out with it. Okay. All right, so let's go back and see what we want to take a look at. Okay, let me share my screen again. I think this is the hardest for me. I have trouble sharing my screen, and I don't know if it's the trackpad. There we go. I can try to model getting into the program. I'll try. I'll tell you, it just looks different for me. So someone's asking what Seesaw is. You have no idea. It is basically cracking your classroom open. You are showing video of what's going on. They are responding to assignments you are posting. They are drawing, things like that. So let me see if I can put. All right. So these are some of the activities that you could pick that are pre-made. If you didn't want to use them, you can make your own brand new activity. I'm going to attempt to get back to my test class. Believe me, your screen looks so much cleaner and better than mine. It's not even funny. It makes me kind of want to cry right now. Hold on. Let's see.
It looks really good on this end, Erica. Don't worry.
Okay. Here I am in my test class. So this is something, yeah, this is her old class. This is her archived class. This is what we were working on together. So if I wanted to put in a new assignment, I can decide whether it's going to be a journal where they're responding or whether it's an activity. Okay. So right here, big green plus, I can add what kind of activity I want. I can decide, you know, it's going to be a photo? Are they going to draw? There's going to be video. You can always add these things later to an assignment. So don't overthink it too much. But just if you kind of have an idea of what you're going after right away, if you just they want to be writing, uploading, that could be uploading anything from your drive. This also connects to your Google Classroom. So here you might just be asking them to respond to typing a note. You know, maybe this would just be your exit slip. You know, tell me, 3 things you learned today. Tell me 1 thing you are stuck, Okay. And you click it, check it, submit it. So it's an explain and reflect. If you wanted to record, let's say you do have an ELL class or a class like that really needs to hear your teacher explanation, you can always hit record and you can put your voice on here. Then you select the students. Is this all your students? This is where you start differentiating a bit with the special ed question. Maybe you're the special ed teacher and you see some kids are really having trouble with a concept, then maybe you would just select a few students who need to respond to this type of question. Maybe the other students are just flying and they don't need to do a particular assignment. Okay. So then the students would see that this is what you've just asked them to do. And let's take a look at Abby here. Now you'll see, this is the old one. So this is over the course of a year. She only really has 34 entries for an entire school year. So this isn't like everything you do is going to be in here as a seesaw. Some people were asking me about, well, doesn't the grading get overwhelming? It's like, well, it's a snippet. It's not, I wouldn't recommend watching 90 videos if you're an exploratory teacher. I wouldn't do that to myself. But if they're working in groups and you can't be there, and that you click it and that you can see their evidence of their work pretty clearly. The other thing Seesaw did do is they've made a whole section in the last 3 weeks called home learning. So they've come up with a lot more activities that they can do from home because the Seesaw staff has realized that they're using it differently than we used to use this a month ago. So even they're kind of thinking through what has changed and what needs to be a little bit different for students doing this on an independent level. So I thought that was kind of cool. I will put this screen in your chat. This, it says K to 5, but I think even if you pick it up at 3rd grade, these are things that we could ask having our students doing that are engaging, and that's asking us to like just look at the material a little bit differently. And these, a book movie trailer, we've been doing that since we had a computer lab with iMovie. These are not like huge earth-shattering new ideas. It's just things that they could now do on their own if they're motivated. Maybe it would be a choice. Okay, maybe you could tell them to do a 6-minute little podcast and talking. So it's kind of like, I know a lot of you have heard with talking about like tidal wave and WeVideo and this and that, but it seems like this combines it very simply. It doesn't do all the things a WeVideo can do, but if you just want a quick, let's see your kids, let's see where they're at, and there it is. It's right there for you. Another one, sending them around a scavenger hunt, just little things. So it just gives you, little snippets of things that you could have them do, and that they have things created for you to put into your classes. Okay, so what other questions do you have for me?
Okay, Eric, I have another question. So basically, Seesaw, like right now, I'm pushing everything out through Google Classroom. And
Yeah.
so do you think that if I set up a Seesaw and I have kids, like would I still post my assignment in Google Classroom, since right now that's where they're accustomed to going for their assignment, and then link it to Seesaw? Or
No, I mean, you could do one of two things. You could, since they're used to Google Classroom, you could put the link into Google Classroom. There is a way to connect this up to Google Classroom too. I've never done that. Has
Okay.
anybody else done that? No? Okay. Yeah, so, yeah, go ahead, Jordan.
Erica, I don't know if did Summer tell you already? Did she say how much she's used it?
No.
Okay, so Summer is, I would kind of defer to her on that because are you an ambassador now?
Yeah.
So she's a Seesaw ambassador, so that's kind of why I asked her to come in. I don't know if you wanted to add anything on what Erica was just saying.
Nope, she's doing a great job.
The question about the different classes, how do you?
I do lots of nodding. I use Google Classroom still as my base, and then because Google Classroom, you can link lots of different things, whereas Seesaw, each activity is different. So for example, my daughter's class is using Seesaw right now, and when she logs in every day, she sees 19 activities in Seesaw for her whole day. I think in the middle school, it works better if, I have 3 or 4 steps I need them to complete. That's, part of the steps are Seesaw, and that's just one of, and then I'll link the Seesaw in so they can just click right into their Seesaw from Google Classroom.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
Can I ask a quick question?
Another quick question? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Maybe I missed this. When having the students join, do they get a code to join, or how does that work? Just the initial joining?
Yeah, they get a code to join.
Okay, that's it. No big deal.
Yeah.
Okay, and I was just going to ask real quick for the people who've used this before, is there like a timeline assignment or activity that anyone knows about?
Let's look.
the community, but anything that you would ever put in there, you're going to find. So these are, the community are all people who have created something and are willing to share it in public. So you don't need to recreate anything. And if you want to be more specific, then you could, put ancient civilizations timeline or something like that. And then once you use those, all of those are editable. So you can like the idea, but have a few words you want to change. So once you've made it yours, then you would be able to, to kind of adapt it to your class's needs.
So it's kind of like if I were to go in and like make a copy like in Google, and then I can change it how I want to change it. Something like that. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, that's weird. When I type in timeline, I didn't find anything pop up like a template. But, and then I know Jody was mentioning the Facebook group that you can join, so that they have a lot of people sharing back and forth on the Facebook group. I'm not on it yet. And they have they're answering more, some lower level, but some higher level questions too. The school and district we don't use as much. I think we're going to ask a little bit more about it. Can you even see anything on here? Because I can see stuff. I'm not sure when you go in if you can see everything I can see. But you can see here that these are some of the things that our teachers have been doing. So if you're, I thought this was kind of nice, because if you're totally stuck, there's also some other people out there that you could ask questions of. And I know our PE team really just started this, because they had been using, they've been using a little bit of Flipgrid, they've been using a little bit of Google Sites, and so this just let them put it all in one spot. And I think that's really what they were looking for. And because at Cooper, kind of fortunate, our 6th grade has really been the spearhead for Seesaw. So if by now anyone you're introducing this to knows how to do it, this maybe the rustiest ones would be the 8th graders, because last year those kids all had it in 6th grade. The 8th graders, I'm not sure how much experience they've had, but definitely our 6th and 7th graders are very strong in Seesaw skills. They will know exactly what to do. And they could probably help you, which is always nice. Yeah, my library, there's not too much going on here. You can see I've just kind of didn't put too much. I was just playing around basically with Margaret, and we were trying to figure this out together. Okay. So are there any other questions for me before we go?
How do you add a class?
Okay.
Because I'm on the screen
Yeah.
and I don't know, I made a class, but I don't know how to put students into it. Oh, here I see, add students. Never mind, I found it.
Okay, okay. It is just a lot of playing around, but I mean, there are a ton of videos out there to help you. It's like, this is really a great place if you're kind of worried, because you're never alone here, honestly. There's always somebody who's made a video or looked into something else and has posted it. If you go to YouTube and type in Seesaw and whatever you're having trouble with, you're most likely going to find it in a nice little short little video. That's why I was almost saying to Jody, I almost don't know how much recording our sessions is even that helpful, because you're going to have a very specific question. You're going to just type your specific question into YouTube, and bam, you're going to get 5 teachers on there with videos, talking you through the problem. So let's see. Let's look at remote learning activities. These are the new things they've been doing for us. So things that, it depends what you do. Maybe you need a daily reading routine. Maybe you are looking more for silly breaks. Okay. Let's see. So let's hit a math problem of the day. So I could like it and come back later. So if you're just kind of you're just kind of shuffling through and it's late at night, you can just hit like and you go, I don't know if I'm really going to use it. Or you can assign it to the class while you're here. Okay. Not even sure what I'm doing. Okay. So if I click on it, then it tells, here, I went too fast. If I click on it, it tells me a little bit more about this, what it is. So I don't even have to really look at it. All I do is click, and I have the teacher explanation here of exactly what this activity is asking the students to do. So then right there, you're not even wasting your time about putting it into your classroom. You can kind of see, look through it and go, oh yeah, that's really what I want. That's going to hit my learning target that I'm going after. And then you can decide to use it, or you can decide to move on. You've got play instructions. There's a lot of things here. I think when it's created by Seesaw, it's very thorough in everything that it has. They think about what the family is seeing. They think about how everything is going to look on their end. So then it says how to do it. You do your heart. They're going to respond. And then you approve the student responses. So that's what's nice too. Yes, the kids can see each other's work, but you get to approve it before it goes on there. So if someone's being super silly or inappropriate, you're still the gatekeeper of what's going on. Ideally, these students have enough experience at this point that some of the goofiness has kind of gone away a little bit. They know they're being held accountable. They know you're going to come back and say, you know what, do this over. What were you thinking? You know better than this. So I think if you just kind of hold them a little more accountable, they get it. They get that you're not going to just let this slide if it's something they just slap together. So if I'm back, class, no. All right. Yeah, this is what I don't like. You will not ever deal with this. It keeps popping me out of where I want to be. All right. Don't want to mess up anyone's class. So, okay. For inbox, this could be just little blurbs that you're putting. This is kind of like the announcements of the Google Classroom. So just, little things that you want them to see right away and go to. And they'll get a little red notice when they have something to look for in their inbox. So skills, you might be giving them stars. You can give them as much or as little feedback as possible. I guess what I wouldn't do is just don't get overwhelmed. There's so much you could be putting in here, but you don't really have to all at one time. I think with Margaret, we just started with the journal and the activities. Those are really the two things we focused the most on because we just wanted to see how students were responding. And then once she had the family codes and the families on board, then she was taking pictures. And I think at first she was taking a lot of the pictures in the video. And then she realized, well, it's time for me to kind of relinquish that control. They can take a video, they can take pictures for me so that I can be off helping some other group. If I'm sending a class out into the hallway doing a science experiment just like this, I don't need to be out there. I can be helping somebody else and they can be snapping pictures and then the content will come back to me and I can post it. So that's another thing too. I think it also really promotes some student empowerment, that they really feel like, hey, they're part of this class and their work is important. And I think they get pretty excited when they know that, something they took a picture of got emailed to all the parents that are in the group.
Erica and Jody, do you know if there's a limit on the number of teachers we can approve? Because like Angela I just got a request from Angela who's in on the call right now. and I approved her, and it says you have one, and that if I have too many, there'll be more fees. Do you know if we can, how many teachers I can approve? Do I just approve them all?
I had to prove them all because right now we are in the full version because Margaret and I set this up on the free version.
Okay.
Yeah, but this,
So that was always unlimited.
And let me ask one more thing. Amy McCall is in, but she may not be on the upgraded. Do I need to add her to the London School account?
Alicia already went and approved anybody who was listed as a teacher in the district. They got switched to get the upgrade. The only people who wouldn't, like I have gotten a few teachers who all of a sudden joined and they wanted to be upgraded, but it's free for everybody right now. So it doesn't matter how many people you approve.
Okay, thank you guys.
Yeah. And I do kind of feel strongly if we're all using this and this is something we all want, I would think this would be something they'd really consider having a district license for.
Yeah, I would think so.
I think that the biggest problem, quote unquote, is both Pear Deck and Seesaw, and all of those teachers are going to really enjoy using them. And next year, it's not going to be free anymore. So the district might have to make some choices.
Right.
But,
Right. But there's a lot you could do with Seesaw without this. I mean, we were doing plenty with it without having the paid account.
No, Erica, one thing I came late, but I don't know if you showed. One thing that is different for the paid account is the ability. Can you go? So when the kid, remember she was talking about the kids giving comments about different, giving feedback on different assignments.
Yeah.
In the free version, that's the only choice you have. The only way to have students not see their other classmates' work is that you don't approve them. You look at them, but you don't approve them to go onto the journal. But in this one, if you go to the wrench for Mrs. Connolly's class, you can see that you can turn off where it says allow students to see each other's posts. You can turn that off. And the reason you might want to turn that off is, and I'm not seeing too many in here, but like at homes, the social workers are going to start using this for their part of their group time. So the kids might not want each other to be seeing it.
Yes.
So just know that you can turn it off. But that would be an example of something that you can't do. You can't do without the paid version. And then as far as things being like having unlimited last time, the reason why it didn't matter is because when teachers were signing up by themselves, they were getting the free version.
Right.
And so they didn't count as member. I mean, they were seen as members of our school because they put that in their information. But like, it's not like we had an unlimited amount. The free version,
yeah.
you could have 5 of them if you want. So I don't. In the Pear Deck one yesterday, Debbie showed some of the examples of what she did. I don't know if Summer's still here. She gone? No, she's there.
I'm here.
Would
Okay,
that be okay?
I don't know how to share my screen.
You don't know how to share your screen?
No.
Once Erica stops sharing her screen, then
Oh, I see.
So then
say present.
Yeah.
The other thing too, Tracy, you were saying about Amy, there was like a weird thing when the school switched, when the district bought it, and I had to go back. You can tell Amy she has to go back and pick holes again.
Okay.
I don't know why I had to do that, but it like had to reset me to the new school account, I guess.
Huh.
Were you sent an email or something, Summer?
What? I think it was weird for like a day there. I couldn't quite figure out what was happening.
Okay. I'll talk to you.
Okay, so you just want to see things? Can you see my screen or no? Oh, wait, I see. Your entire screen.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Yes?
I saw it for a moment, and then it went away.
Okay. I couldn't hear anyone, so I didn't know. This?
There it is, yes.
Okay, so this was today, and I totally agree with what Erica was saying about I have all of my math students in one class. All of this was like their check-in today really quick, and all of them that either got it wrong or didn't follow the directions, I sent it back to them, and that's why it says draft. I did also, like what Jody said, I turned off so they could see each other. They're used to being able to see each other in school, but I turned it off now for the home learning because I'm using Seesaw more as like, I know I'm not grading it, but it's more of the like check-in on what they've learned and what they're understanding. So to me, it's kind of like exit slips, most of the things I do in here. I don't know. I made both of these activities, but I also have a bunch that I also get from the activities library. I don't know, what else do you guys want to see? Let me go back to the, does anyone want to see anything?
Yeah, some of us are just kind of brand new still. So anything that's working really well for you, if you want to share an example or
Well, I was
two of
gonna
your
say,
favorite kind of go-tos.
maybe like an activity you did where maybe different kids responded in different ways. Just because to me that's the most
Oh, yeah, see,
important
they don't
part,
do
is
that.
that the kid gets to decide how they want to explain or answer.
I think that's really important too. But like, for example, on this, I used the little codes and said, you can make a video or you can record yourself or you can draw. They all just draw and type. I think it's just kind of a middle school thing. They don't like to hear their voice and they don't. But like, it's super simple. I know what I would say. If you're going to make your own activity, because that is something I do a lot. I also like drag down people's activities that I think look good, and then you can edit them and kind of make them their own. So if there's like, oh, I like this part of it, but then you can make your own activity from there. When you're making an activity, I would add template usually, and then I would go to, this is also where you can add links to other websites. Like I've added the social studies textbook link to a certain article I want them to read and then respond to. But I usually go to drawing for the template, and then this works and functions. And now that we have the school paid one, we can add pages, and it just basically runs like a slideshow. So you can add questions and slides. So that's where I made, go back. That's where I've been making like these little quick snapshot things that I've made in the past week for them to do. So like I've been using Pear Deck to input the information with them and kind of like teach the lesson and get the formative assessment as they're learning it. And then after we've worked on things together through Pear Deck, then I would apply the Seesaw towards like the end of the, okay, now show what you know. What do you know about this? And then this is like, I just made this in that little drawing thing, and it just works just like I would make a Google slide. Anything else?
Comparing it actually to the classroom or to the class.
I can't quite, you're cutting out partially.
Oh. Did you show, I don't remember, Erica, did either of you actually show how you share it to a certain class?
No.
No.
Do you want to show how you share the activity to the class?
Do you want me to do that? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not getting the bottom bar where I can share my screen again.
Pop up.
No, I can't hear you, and I can't get the bottom. No, nothing's popping up at the bottom.
Okay.
At all. Like I couldn't even hang up if I wanted. I don't know why.
Okay. Well, we did get to that screen where you can look at the activity and then you hit the share button. So, I mean, that was something we were looking at before. All right, do you want me to try to share my screen? Okay.
Yeah, my internet's not great.
Okay, so you're asking me about adding an activity. Is this where you wanted me to be in activities and add? So let's say we want to do a drawing. So this is kind of where you were before, where you could add your voice, you could add text, you could add the drawing. Yeah, we showed this, Jody. You could do your all students. We talked about how you could choose specific students if this was differentiated. There, so there's the exit slip we made earlier. And then this, I didn't type anything in there, so there's nothing in there. So it just gave them a space to draw or do something. And then this is their comment. So I would say just, if you're interested, get started. Make sure Help Center is there, and, shoot us some questions if you get stuck. But I really think, I don't anticipate you guys getting that stuck because there's just so much out there to help you through it. So are there any other questions? Good. All right. Well, thanks everybody for coming.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Bye.